As a big fan of anything that went fast, Jim Alley founded Profile Racing in 1968, originally as a race car chassis shop. But by 1978, once Jim's kids had begun racing BMX, his venture into the bicycle industry was born. Thanks to his background in auto racing, where Jim was familiar with chromoly fabrication and lightweight aluminum components, it was inevitable that this BMX dad began figuring out ways to improve on the current inferior BMX products that were available on the market. By 1980, he designed Profile's first three-piece chromoly tubular crankset using a 48-spline spindle, which today have become the industry standard. Coming from the race car world, Alley knew that he needed a factory team consisting of some of the finest nationally ranked riders in the country to ride, test, and promote his products. Under Jim's guidance, Profile has continued to manufacture all of their products in-house in the USA. Determined to keep this a family-owned business, he's turned down many offers to sell the brand and continues to decline offers to make his products cheaper overseas. Yes, they still are and always will be a 100% American-made product, straight out of St. Petersburg, Florida. During the early 90s, Profile was responsible for bringing cassette hubs to the forefront of the BMX market, which are, again, an industry standard. While his kids help run the Profile shop, along with an impressive and loyal staff of BMX fanatics, Jim is still heavily involved in R&D and design of Profile products. In fact, Jim still welds every pair of Profile Elite cranks. So put your hands together for one of the longtime, much-deserving BMX industry icons, your 2016 Hall of Fame industry inductee, Jim Alley.
Wow, wow, what an honor, and standing here in the front of the Olympic flame for myself, but also for Profile Racing. And tonight, the great state of Florida will be honored with two Hall of Fame inductees, Michelle Carnes and myself. Congratulations. And speaking of Florida, we have really hit a home run here. We had our first Supercross BMX race opened this spring in Oldsmar, and another Supercross track opening in Sarasota in August. Florida now becoming the BMX destination. Before I get on with my speech, I'd like to pay a tribute to Dave Mira. We are all grateful for what he did for BMX, the past, present, and the effect he'll have on the future. He was a great supporter of what we did at Profile. For that, we too are very thankful. Our condolences to his family, his friends, and all of BMX. He'll be greatly missed. There is so much history behind this company. Actually 48 years of history. 37 of these years have been in the BMX industry. I feel like the last man standing and the survivor. Outwit, outplay, and outlast. In 1968, my wife Nancy and myself made a big decision to pursue my interest in race cars and open our own business in Flemington, New Jersey. Which coincidentally, I believe, in the 1990s became headquarters for the NBL. Flemington, a small town, was known for its 5/8 mile oval track, which hailed as one of the fastest ovals in the Northeast. It only seemed right for the area to have a speed shop and a race car chassis building facility. So that is just what I did. Within 1 year, we outgrew the building we were renting. We had the opportunity to purchase land from my dad and build our own state-of-the-art facility centrally located near the track. At our grand opening in spring of 1970, we wanted to do something that would be exciting and certainly spectacular. I invited some friends of mine in the drag racing industry to bring their top fuel funny car to do some loud and crazy burnouts in our parking lot. The car was owned by Sammy Miller and another fella, Kenny Poffenberger, who resided in New Jersey. There's a connection here to BMX, which I will get back to later. Profile racing changed. Many of the modified cars of that generation were garage built. Profile racing changed that by designing and engineering a professionally built race car. These cars were purchased and started to make their way into the oval tracks in the Northeast, where they dominated and put many drivers in the winner's circle. As our business grew in the first year, we extensively traveled to various tracks to lend support and help the drivers and their teams. As these cars got faster with the new chassis, tire technology became better. With the wider tires on the front end of these cars, it became very difficult to steer, which caused really physical exhaustion for the drivers. But I had a brainstorm. That brainstorm was to put power steering gear into a race car. This was first met with a lot of skepticism. So I designed a power steering gear, which turned out to be a very, very successful venture. One which changed the race car industry forever. Within a short span of less than 2 years, most car owners could not get a driver to drive their car unless there was a power steering gear in it. Profile still has a division today that continues to build power steering gears. From 1970 to 1978, Profile Racing built over 350 cars up in the Northeast of the United States. Due to the increased liability factor and the amount of cars we were building, we made a difficult decision at that time to discontinue building race cars, but continue with our power steering gears. Now we get into BMX. In 1978, while on a family vacation in Florida with our two, at that time, young children, Corey and Justine, for some unknown reason, we wound up with ourselves in a bike shop. None of us knew anything about BMX racing, but our son Corey, wanting a BMX bike, boy, that really turned out to be the definitive move in our lives. We headed back to New Jersey with a new BMX bike, and for your information, it was a torquer. The next year, 1979, our family and business made the move to St. Petersburg, Florida, where Profile Racing was solely building steering gears. St. Petersburg had a BMX track, which I believe was run by FBMXA. Corey practiced there and was involved in his first BMX race in Bradenton, Florida in August of 1979, followed by a weekly racing mostly in St. Petersburg. Our daughter Justine also became involved in BMX and entered many local races. As I personally got more involved in my children's racing, many memories of race car business came flashing back. Dirt, metal tubing welded, screaming parents. I thought to myself, I can do this. I can build a better mousetrap, or should I say bicycle. I had the knowledge, I had all the equipment, I had the facility, and this is where it all began. After going to many races and observing kids on the starting gate, standing on their bike pedals and watching their one-piece cranks flex like rubber bands, what came to my mind was a lot of power loss at that starting gate. I would make a three-piece crank with a 48 spline axle. This is the same spline that we used on the steering gears where the quick release hub mounted the steering wheel. In 1979, we made our first three-piece chrome moly crankset prototype. Who would ever have thought that the 48 spline would become the standard for cranks to this day in the industry? Earlier I mentioned a connection of race cars to BMX. You might have noticed the picture of a picture on the screen before of our building with a funny car sitting in front of it. That funny car belonged to Sammy Miller, one of the owners of the car, that went on to be Speed Unlimited or Thruster, a New Jersey-based company. What a coincidence. In 1980, we started making our signature frame with a small bar in the middle and also making forks. In 1980, we started to sponsor a few local riders. In 1981, after being contacted by Rich Hutchins, we began building frames, forks, and cranksets for Hutch. Beginning of 1982 was when we put our first official race team together. Robbie Roop, Johnny Turner, two young Larson brothers, Ronnie Walker, my son Corey, and Darren May from Australia. This is when we purchased our first team truck and 40-foot trailer to add support and mechanical assistance on bikes to our growing customer base. In 1982, we added additional accessories to our profile line products: horseshoe pedals, lockjaw stems, handlebars, seat posts, and the Gyrolite hubs. Also in 1982, we traveled to many NBL War the Stars Nationals, including the Murray World Cup, which was held at the World's Fair in Knoxville, Tennessee. The 1983 season came along with our team of Shelby James, Mitch Watkins, Bobby James, Frankie Churlo, Corey, Richard Zegers, and Eric Roop. Eric went on that year to be national #1 pro and NBL. Rocky James was our team manager. Some of the riders at that time, we also started running ABA. In 1984, we picked up Judd Ciancio. Also that year, we started producing Pro-Styler frames, forks, and bars. A young fellow by the name of Donnie Cook, our one and only freestyler. 1984 to 1987, our profile race team competed for #1 team in NBL. In 1986, we partnered with Eagle Snacks team, run by Mark Fowler of St. Petersburg. And I think Michelle was part of that team at that time. Richard Long and Gary Turner from GT contacted us in 1991 to manufacture cranks and chain wheels for GT and Powerline, of which we did. From the 90s to present, we've been fortunate to have had many talented riders on our teams who also experienced growing pains, which resulted in an addition of another new 20,000 square foot manufacturing facility in 2003. When we began in BMX, we had about 20 part numbers. Today we have over 1,700 part numbers. In 1989, after completing 4 years of college, our son Corey came to work for us full time. He has been our talented product design engineer, the visionary of the new product and production, which has included cassette hubs, stems, sprockets. The list goes on, with the latest being our Z-Coaster hub, which has changed the street, ramp, flatland riding. Great job, Corin. Thank you. Justine, our daughter, after graduation from Florida State University in 1991, also joined our business. She is an integral part of our daily operations, overseeing quality control of parts coming back from our outside vendors and part coordination. Thank you, Justine. Nancy, my wife, is our CFO, and thanks, Nancy. This is a real family business, and I don't mean just my immediate family, to whom I love dearly and I'm so appreciative, but also to our entire group of employees from our profile family: Matt Copeland, Charlie Fernandez, Gus Lanzalata, Shane Wanick, Termite Hudson, Dave Fisher, Grant Carter, Jim Gilmore, Dan Weber, Scooter Campbell, Mark Movil, Johnny Jackson, Darrell Lee, Mike Ciccarello, and Jacob Buenicato. Some of them have been with me for over 20 years. One special member, Gus Lanzalotta, is with us tonight. Many of you know Gus. You see him all the time at the BMX races with our truck and trailer. He is our world team manager, but more importantly, our goodwill representative. He brings our extended factory to you. He offers help and assistance not only for parts, but the understanding and guidance. And Gus, thank you very much. I've been asked many times over the years why we never went overseas to get product made. For Profile, it's all about pride. Pride we have in the quality workmanship. We have complete control over our in-house manufacturing with our state-of-the-art CNC machinery and hands-on operation. We know what quality materials that we're buying. Made America is what our company is all about. Words that have Many words have been used to describe Profile products. Pioneer, innovative, revolutionary, excellent, superior, and game changer. Another question asked is why there is such longevity to Profile racing. One of the main reasons is we have been able to adapt over the years as a manufacturer. Our responsibility is not just to place our name on a product and market it, but build into the product the best competitive edge, the confidence one has in it, and the reliability one obtains from it. The support from Profile does not end at the purchase. We are always there to answer questions. You actually still get a live person to answer the phone, still in the USA. I'd like to close thanking the hundreds of riders, their parents that have represented us over the years, to our sponsors, Hyper, Maxxis, Sun Rims, ODI, Fly, Box, Snafu, BMX Talk, Feedback. To everyone that voted for me for this special honor, and to everyone who made this wonderful awards induction ceremony possible. There is one more milestone in my life which I'd like to share with everyone tonight. And no, I'm not retiring. I still have way too much fun with this business. My wife, my beautiful wife, Nancy, and I just celebrated our 50th wedding anniversary. This is on May 28th. What a banner year we've been having. Good luck and congratulations to our Olympic BMX team. Bring home the gold and kick some ass. Finally, I'd like to end with it's a quote from Walt Disney. All our dreams come true if we have the courage to set the goals and pursue them. And I'd like to thank everybody again. This was great, believe me. Thank you.